Life is all about the gray area undefined. Life is filled with parallels. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can choose to live your life out loud, or you can choose the in between or the middle of the road. Inside the gray area, that's where life happens. Welcome to Inside the Gray Area, sponsored by McGregor. Hi, I'm Leanne O'Brien, Chief Marketing Officer for McGregor. We're here to talk today about McGregor PACE, which is the program of all-inclusive care for the elderly. Truly an innovative program that is really made for seniors to keep them at home in the community. And we're here today with Lori Lozier. She is our site administrator for McGregor PACE in Elyria. How does one, what's eligibility look like? How does somebody qualify?
Sure. So in order to be eligible for the PACE program, there's the need to be 55 years or older. So as long as you're 55 or older, you could be eligible. You also need to be what they call nursing home eligible. So what that means is in the state of Ohio, and again, it can be different in other states, but in our state, in order to be eligible for a nursing home admission under the Medicaid program, you need to have at least 2 areas of need in your care. So you might need help with bathing or dressing, you might need help with feeding, you might need help with some meal prep or some laundry. Those are independent IADLs, but regardless, you need at least 2. And when you have those 2, then they say this person could possibly meet the eligibility. And so the reason they say that is the PACE program was created in this country years ago to look as an alternative to nursing home placement. And so these would be people who would meet the qualification to go to a nursing home, sure, but they don't want to. They want to live in the community and their family wants to live in, but they need support to do it. And the PACE program provides that support. So for those folks, you have to be 55 years old, meet the eligibility for Medicaid, and then also be safe in the community. So what does safe mean? Safe really means that you're not, so if you're neglecting yourself because you can't get upstairs anymore and you are, sleeping in a chair and you're not eating because you can't get to those are things we can help you with.
Right.
But if there are other things that are keeping you unsafe, an unsafe environment, you wouldn't be eligible. But when we think of unsafe for most older adults, it mostly, for the most part, is some unintentional neglect. And they just can't do it, and they don't have enough support to keep them in the community. Mm-hmm. And so for those folks, if you can put a PACE program in place, they are safe.
Right.
And so that's what we look for.
Right. Well, we all know what the burden is on, I don't remember the exact figures, but the burden on the family caregiver component, and what it would typically cost our government if all those individuals had to be paid for the services. But we have another unique aspect of our program, which is we actually offer training to the family caregivers.
We do. So one of the things so you don't need to be an STNA for home services.
State-tested nursing.
State's tested nursing assistant. Mm-hmm. But you do need some basic training and some basic things, how to transfer somebody safely, how to bathe somebody safely, if you're immobile in bed, how do you move somebody who's immobile in bed safely so they don't roll out or you don't break a bone or whatever. So some of the basic training is something that we can do, and so we do have program that is available for folks that they can in fact sign up for, which will allow them to be the caregiver part of the time in the home. So, and for some people that works. There are occasionally are some limitations from the government about how we do this program or when we do this program or how many people. So it kind of is in flux off and on. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, those are people who, we're taking care of mom at home. And they can provide the hours of support, so we don't have to put an aide in there because they can get mom on the bus. Right. And so because they're able to do it, could be the grandchild, could be a niece, could be the neighbor. It does, somebody who has actually been doing this work. We're not going to put our aide in there. We're going to say, okay, then can we put you through this training? And if you're willing to go through it, then we would be able to provide some support for you doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the support that the program gives to the family unit as well is so vitally important.
Yes.
And now that COVID is hopefully beyond us, those individuals are back at work.
Yep.
Nobody wants mom or dad or, a grandmother or grandfather sitting at home alone all day.
Right.
This is, an ideal option for
Right.
keeping them.
And some people want to be home a couple days a week, and so they only come to the center a few days a
Sure,
week.
they don't have to come 5
No,
days
they
a week,
don't.
right?
And some people, the family is comfortable, as long as they know, that somebody, because there can be times where the only reason she's not answering, the older adult, isn't answering the door to get on the bus is because she's not dressed and ready because she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to make sure you're up and dressed and presentable because, they don't want to come out looking like they're not presentable for the day. So we'll send somebody in the home to make sure that you are, so you can get on the bus and you can spend the day with us and with the older adults and the other socialization pieces that are so vitally important, let alone the field trips. We do a lot of field trips too.
Yeah. It's a very robust program,
It
I
is.
will say. It's not what you typically envision when
No.
somebody says,
No,
is
it's not like
describing
the old,
adult day center.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's
exactly.
nothing at all like
No.
that, yeah. So, hours of operation.
So the day centers are open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night. So we have the building staffed. Obviously, a lot of our older adults do not come at 8. There are some people who do have a daughter who might work at 9, and so they might want to drop mom off at 8.
Sure.
But for the most part, folks are coming in around the 9 o'clock hour or so. We have a couple that do come in early, so we'd make sure we have center assistants
Sure.
there for them. And then they start usually getting dropped off in the afternoon around 3 or 4. Again, we have some folks whose family works, and so they want to pick mom up on the way home from work, and they're not picking her up till 4:45, and that's fine.
Right, right. So, but it's a very full day.
It's a very
And
full
we
day.
do, I think, for the most part, make sure everybody's home pretty much by 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially, they plan the routes in a way to make sure that we try to get everybody back into their homes by 5, assuming people are going to start with the whole dinner hour at that point.
One other unique aspect, which we'll talk about it in depth at a later time, but when an individual is no longer able to stay in their own home, we have alternatives here on our campus. So we have affordable assisted living options available to them, supported by the PACE program, which is a CMS, counterpart, as well as some of the other organizations that we work with. So I think, again, offering that latitude to individuals and their family, knowing that the next step isn't automatically going to be, you have to go to a nursing home.
Right,
There
no.
are other alternatives. And we
Right.
work with other organizations in the area that
Absolutely.
provide residential housing too.
Right. Some folks just need the group house, the idea of a group home, and they're not, they're able to function, but they need that level of support. They don't maybe need as much care or monitoring, but they just can't manage the household anymore, and there just isn't family to do it. And so, sometimes that's an ideal living situation for an older person, and then there are some folks who, would benefit more from the assisted living because they do need more than that.
Right.
And then not only do you have the benefit of the services of assisted living, there is the socialization that's also already in assisted living. So if you can't get out as much and you don't want to come, or it's too taxing on you to come to the day center,
Right.
you can in fact participate there.
Right. So what else do we need to let people know?
I think it's a unique program that I think as time goes on, the country will hear more and more about. I believe this is the, rocking of the boat. For Ohio, we've been very, in my opinion, overbedded in nursing homes, and I come from the nursing home world, and I love the
Sure.
nursing home world. But we've had a lot of nursing homes and not a lot of social supports in the community for older adults, and so you didn't have an option. And now in Ohio, you're starting to see that there is a flip to us. It would be nice if it's a halfway flip. We're not quite there yet. 7 counties is a beginning.
And can you mention those counties? Who else?
Oh,
I think Toledo, somewhere up in Toledo, right?
yeah, they're near the Pennsylvania border, the
And then
Michigan
Columbus and
border, and then
Cincinnati.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think it'll be the beginning. I think at the time, the state was looking for where they had the biggest need. And then they need to see how this works, because I think once folks get to understand it and the program works, you start to see the benefit of the older, for the older adult, not only in their satisfaction, but them staying in the community. And let's be honest, you know, I just told you, I came from the nursing home world. I love the
Right.
nursing home world. I have no intentions of living in a nursing home, right?
Everybody wants to stay in their own home.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. Well, the other exciting news I guess we could share is, you know, you mentioned the permanent location that will be opening up. Actually, great freeway access, so we'll be able
Yes.
to service people very easily. But it's off of Route 57 and I-90.
Yep.
It'll be off of Leona Street, I believe is the name, behind Lowe's.
Correct.
But
If anybody's from the area, it's where the Midway Mall area used to be.
There you go.
That hopefully will get built up again. But that right across the street is where we'll be, so it's great access for folks, great
and when
access.
do we think that's going to open?
It'll be definitely the summer of next year. You know, the building will get done in the spring, and then you have obviously, you know, I mean, we took, you know, as you know, we took a piece of land and we're going from the ground up, so we have to
Right.
put parking lots and all that stuff in too, so.
The whole infrastructure.
The whole infrastructure. And so the building is currently, if you drive by now, you'll see that there's construction crews out there, and they're very busily starting to put in the cement around the perimeter, and I'll be anxious when I start to see the walls come
I
in,
bet.
but we know we're one step at a time.
I bet.
Yeah.
And then the next phase, or the next step we have to look forward to is we're partnering with Ohio Living Rocky Knoll. We'll be opening in Summit County, I guess March of 2025 was
I think
kind
that's
of
what I
the-
heard too, yes.
a date that has been shared, so.
Yes.
So we'll be in those two areas, and then we've already had, I think, some constituents in other areas saying, well, you know, we want you to come to Medina County, we want you to come to Lake County. So it'll remain to be seen where we go from here. But,
Absolutely.
But, you know, more to the story to come, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing that insight
No,
on the
thank you for
program.
inviting me.
If anybody wants to stop by, get a tour of the center, certainly Lori is there Monday through Friday.
Yes.
And happy to show you around and introduce you to the PACE temporary location, which sits off of Earl Street in Elyria, behind the Wesleyan Village.
Correct.
So we'll be there from now until the new center opens.
Correct.
So, but look for us to do some activities. I think we're going to have some special events there and
Yep.
some other things coming up, so stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining Inside the Gray Area. We're here to answer all your questions and share some interesting insights. I'm Leanne O'Brien. We look forward to seeing you next time, and be sure to follow us on social media and our YouTube channel.